and welcome to For the Love of Nature, a podcast where we tell you everything you need to know about nature and probably more than you wanted to know. I'm Laura Fawks Lapole.
And I'm Katy Holloway. And Kim's here!
Yay!
Hey, everybody.
It's Kim! So if you guys haven't listened before, Kim is our manager. She's the one that keeps us organized, gives us insightful ideas about what we should and should not be doing, most importantly.
Necessary feedback.
Feedback. And if you've heard, I can't remember what episode we've talked about it in, but we did say in one of the episodes that Kim may be just as funny as us or even funnier than us. So today we're going to be testing that theory because we're going to be talking a little bit of an out there episode about nature hotties.
Yeah.
In movie media roles, individuals that we think deemed to be called nature hotties, and we will justify it. It's not just gonna be a, well, they're cute. No,
Right. We're trying to balance this with, between, we're not trying to objectify anybody here, but...
It's Fight Club.
Hot.
Right. We need to, we're fighting for the justification of why we think our individuals deem the title of nature.
Yes.
This should be good. But first, before we get into this, and I'm probably going to pee my pants at some point from laughing too hard, Laura, do you want to kick off?
Sure. I got a really interesting one. So this one is from Science Alert, and the title of the article is Scientists Translated Spiderwebs into Music and It's Beyond Stunning.
What?
Okay. This is so cool, guys. It really is amazing. I
have so many questions already.
Yeah. So a couple years ago, there's two pieces to this. One is old news, one is new news.
Okay.
The old news is that a couple years ago, scientists decided that they were going to translate 3D spider webs into music. So what they do is they specifically, most of us think of spider webs as two-dimensional, but that's only a few species.
Okay, true.
A lot of species are three-dimensional.
True.
So they got this tropical spider. What type of spider is it? It is a tropical tent web spider. They put it into a rectangular box, it built its 3D web, and as it was doing it, a computer is scanning in 2 dimensions. The computer then puts it all together into 3 dimensions, and then they created an algorithm that would assign notes to strands. And it creates this insane noise. So let me just play it for you real quick. It's exactly what you think a spider web would sound like.
I hope it's chaotic. No, that's actually terrifying.
That's
legitimately terrifying. So
interesting.
That does spiders no favors.
Yeah, right.
So they were saying that this is, amazing for a couple of reasons. Because this is how spiders live their lives. They don't really see very well. It's all vibrational.
Yeah.
So what the new news is that they have taken this musical program and they have put it into virtual reality. So you can go in and you can experience the sound, but you can also pluck the individual strands and experiment with tension and things like that. So they're thinking it's going to help.
So you're in. Wait. You're in the web. Like the web's around you?
I don't think there's any spider, but yes, you're in the web. So you are experiencing
I don't think
it as
there's any
spider.
Just sort of
Right, no, that'd be terrifying. No. So yeah, but you are the spider experiencing the world around you as they do. So you're plucking strings and you can hear things, you can hear how sound changes. So they're thinking that one, this will help 3D printing because of structure stuff.
Yeah.
But also they're thinking that they can create, because of this new way of doing things, they can create another algorithm that can identify patterns Which brings us to our last episode, animal language.
Yeah.
Because they think that they can use this to communicate with spiders. If they can develop a pattern...
Does anybody want to communicate with spiders?
I would love to know
I
what
do.
they were thinking. Yeah.
Don't squish me!
Even if it's bad... Well, they were saying, it could be every vibration means... Could it be prey? It means somebody they're coming to woo you. So if they can identify patterns and then mimic those patterns and see if the spider reacts to them, then in theory, then they could identify when the spider is doing it back. I was like, it's so cool. I really want to experience the program.
Because I've talked about the plant wave, and I'm still waiting for my plant wave, because it was pre-ordered, end of the summer. But it's the same thing. It's like, well, I mean, not exactly, because it's not vibrations, but it's picking up movement, like water movement, and in the plant, and so then they put an algorithm to that information.
It is very similar, because really, right now, they have just assigned notes to strands, so it means nothing. It means nothing other than you can you can translate it into sound. But when they can start manipulating that sound, that's when it will mean something.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
My question here is, can I download this for my Oculus?
No, I know.
Because I want to live in a spider web.
It's called, the program itself is called, I believe, Spider's Canvas.
Oh, that's a good name.
Yeah, it is.
That's really cute.
So, Spider's Canvas allows audiences to hear the spider music, but the virtual reality, they can enter and play strands of the webs themselves. I also think that would be really cool for, like, school. Like, as a naturalist, I would love to be able to utilize that program, because also think about the connection and the empathy that you could... If you could be a spider, then you can empathize with a spider.
That makes sense.
Right.
Anyway, mind blown. Next.
That is really good. All right, Kim, do you want to go next? Kim has a good one.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah, absolutely.
So excited.
Thanks for the help in finding this, Katy. I want to read the headline of this article to you first.
Sweet.
Because it is a true delight. So, from Live Science, headline, Wandering Meatloaf Creature Has Teeth of Iron.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That is an awesome article. I mean, if that isn't clickbait, I don't know what is, but I would certainly click it. Wandering Meatloaf? I'd be like, what?
Wandering Meatloaf. So, okay, let's talk about the Wandering Meatloaf. Here's what you need to know about it. It's like 14 inches long and reddish brown, a la a mobile meatloaf.
You're right.
Okay.
It looks like a meatloaf.
I love meatloaf.
It looks like a wandering meatloaf.
And not even
a
tiny,
name.
not even like a tiny meatloaf, like a life-size meatloaf.
Oh, it's a big boy meatloaf.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's
what? Thick with 2 C's.
All right, we're not into the
C's.
We're not into the nature hottie stuff yet, guys. Calm down.
Well, it's a great tee-up. So it's also known as the Pacific chitin. I'm hoping that's how you say it, because that's how the internet told me to say it.
Join my neck of the woods. Just run with it and mispronounce it every time. You're fine.
Or the giant gumboot chitin. And it's the largest species of chitin that they know of.
So what is a chitin?
I know. Well, I had to look that up too,
Yeah.
because I had no idea. It turns out it's a marine mollusk with like an ovalish flattened body, a shell made of overlapping plates, a la a roly-poly of the sea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so they're also known for having, these chitins have super hard teeth, and it's attached to like a tongue-like thing called a radula.
Yeah, like a slug. Slugs have that.
Mm-hmm.
And they eat by scraping that tooth tongue over rocks to grab algae and food. So the news part of all this, it turns out these teeth are made of like a rare iron mineral.
What?
Santa Barbarate. I bet they found it at Santa Barbara.
I bet.
Right? Yeah,
Or they wish they did.
Yeah.
But what's cool about it is that it's, up until this point, has only been found in rocks.
What?
So this is the first time, they found this
In a
mineral,
living animal. Whoa.
In a living thing.
And a mollusk, no less.
Of all things. I mean, you are what you eat, right?
Yeah, meatloaf. A wandering meatloaf, no less.
I guess if you scrape rocks enough, you just start to become one.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Teeth need to be
So it's
harder.
like they found... They found it in like it's called a stylus, but it's basically like their version of a root, like a human tooth root.
Okay.
So it's how their teeth connect to like the tongue thing.
Gotcha.
And so scientists were so pumped to find out about this water meatloaf stylus that they tried to recreate the chemical makeup with a 3D printer, and it worked.
Whoa! Can it rasp
Yeah.
through like concrete?
They did not tell me this
It's like
information.
ultimate cat tongue. Like,
yeah, right. Let's see. What else can they get through? Yeah.
that's what I would immediately be like, all right, we're testing this on every material we can find. Can they get through, like, steel doors?
Yeah.
Licking it. I'll lick a hole through.
That's how we're going to break into banks moving forward. We just get a bunch of mollusks, wandering meatloafs. How did they break into the bank and steal all the diamonds? Well, the wandering meatloaf, they brought
That
it
would
over.
be so good. I can picture it all, even the sound effect, like a of them slapping it on the door. They slap it on the door, and then it slowly just like licks it away.
Oh. Yeah, that's not a very efficient way to break into anything.
It'd be really slow. You're like,
The slowest break all night. This started at like closing when they leave at 8 p.m. and then by, opening 9 a.m. the next morning, I broke it in.
That's so cute. You can go take a break. Like, you just take your slug down there, slap it on the door, and you're like, all right, I'll be back in a few hours. I'm going for coffee.
Just slap your marine meatloaf on the door.
It's very spacey sounding. Like, that's something like you see, like, you think would be on a sci-fi movie. They got this weird, like, safe breaker space slug. They just slap on something.
Slap on. I mean, well, think of it this way, though. Would it be efficient? Because then you could break into multiple banks all in one night. Just go around slapping your mollusks everywhere, your meatloafs.
Slapping the mollusks.
Here's how you do it. You set it up with, you train koalas and
2 slap on the
meatloafs.
mollusks.
2 slap on, right.
That! The perfect
And they'll never
rhyme.
find you.
The perfect rhyme.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, goodness. Well, I guess if we're going to keep the animal stuff going, are you guys ready for mine?
Yeah.
All right, so this
100.
was a story from my absolute favorite news source, NPR.
Ooh.
And the title is The Secret to Better Soft-Bodied Robots Might Be Found in Elephant Trunks. So apparently...
I'm like, I'm like intrigued, but also already disturbed and a little disgusted. A soft-bodied robot is like the last thing, like last term I want to hear.
Of anything.
Yeah.
All right, so the army is paying... So the army is behind all this funding,
Of
which
course.
is fascinating anyway, because the military funds all kinds of random things. But the reason why they're doing this is because they want to know if there's a more versatile appendage that could hold... that could suck, that could hold gently pick things up and do all kinds of things. So they
Like
figured
a more delicate robot.
a delicate robot. So for whatever reason, the first thing they thought of was an elephant trunk. Like, let's investigate this thing. So I was like, all right.
First on my list.
Right? Yeah, right. Elephants. So where are we going to find some elephants? So they started doing this research. And I believe, let's see here. Yeah, it was Georgia Tech PhD student, Andrew Scholes, that he was, and his advisor, David Wu, or David Hu. Let me look here. David Hu. And they were using funding from the Army. And they worked with Zoo Atlanta for the elephants. And they basically used various scanners to scan and take models of like the outside of the trunk, the inside, to be able to see how everything is working.
Yeah, because I know that their trunks move differently than our muscles. It's like hydro something, right? Like it's with water or blood. Like it's almost like hydraulics in a way.
With blood, I think it was.
Yeah,
they didn't go too much into that because I mean they were just saying like with the ultrasound and everything that they were able to pretty much, I don't want to say like map out the trunk, but essentially map out the entire trunk. But some interesting things that they found, which had never been known before, is how the sucking power of an elephant's trunk. So they found out, or they calculated, that elephants suck in air at more than 330 miles per hour through their trunk.
Wait,
which is
pardon?
Also,
yes.
why are they breathing? Wait, I guess I never would have thought. I guess I would have thought that they're mouth breathers, because it just seems like it'd be more efficient.
Well, they are, but like if they pick stuff up, you know how like
a vacuum.
It's a vacuum, but it's a 330 mile per hour vacuum.
How fast do we sneeze?
Okay, well, they tell you.
Okay, good, because I was about to look it up.
So that is, which again, we really need to start keeping track of all of our our different measurements, because you've said one that was faster than
me.
Faster than Laura.
Moose can run 3 times faster than me, and something can swim some faster than me.
Farther than a rat can swim.
Yeah.
And so this is definitely one that needs to be added. So 330 miles per hour is 30 times faster than a human.
Holy cannoli! I would have thought it was pretty similar, but
no way. Well, yeah, because
times
you figure it's 330 miles per hour.
Yeah, but I thought we sneezed at something crazy. But I guess
we do. But yeah, not this. I mean, and that's what I was thinking before. So I was reading all this. I was like, oh, well, we sneeze, and it is a really high number. Apparently, not high enough, because
how fast does a bullet go?
Let me look it up.
I'm just imagining it shooting peanuts out of its trunk like in cartoons.
Okay, I just typed how fast does a peanut go. Hold on.
I do that all the time when somebody's talking to me.
Let's see here. Okay, 2,600 feet per second. So that's over 1,800 miles per hour. Okay, so not as quite as fast as a speeding bullet, but pretty darn fast, 330 miles per hour, which is really fast. I also just found it fascinating that like now that there's a number to put with it,
the sucking power of elephants. I feel like a nature hottie joke is in there somewhere, but I don't think we should get too far into it.
So anyway, so like I was saying, the army then, the reason why they're doing this is basically as we're building robots for various things, whether it's for manufacturing purposes or military. I mean, they're looking at using robotics for various things too. I think it's Boston Mechanics, I think is the name, that has that like creepy dog. Yeah.
Oh, the dog. Did you hear? I was watching Colbert that they tried to put some in like police, they put some in the field with police forces.
Oh,
and
no.
people freaked out. And they had
believe
to discontinue all of them because it was too scary for people to like.
I believe it.
Well,
that's
that's
Terminator. That's Terminator level.
Cops with dogs are already scary enough, but cops with robot dogs, like.
And I think that company is Boston Dynamics.
I don't know.
Something
Terrifying.
Boston. But yeah, and so it's looking at stuff like that. So is there a way to have why it needs to be soft-bodied robots?
Yeah,
I don't think it says. But they were saying that, they're looking at a robot that is gentle enough to pick up elephants are gentle enough to pick up a peanut, but then push down a door if you need to. And so that's what they're really looking at for the future of robotics, is just that gentle finesse, versus, hey, I can bust down a door or a wall if I need to.
I want to do both. Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's what they're studying. So they studied elephant trunks with Zoo Atlantis. So 330 miles per hour is the sucking power of an elephant.
Impressive. Count me impressed.
Count me impressed.
All right. Well, I think we're ready to get into the meat of what we're talking about.
Did you? We should probably warn. We're going to try. Okay, so we are, like we said at the beginning, this isn't
straight up objectification.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're trying to keep it appropriate, like we did with our, animal sex episode.
However,
there will be some adult humor.
Yeah, children may or may not want to listen to this episode. So if you are a child listening and you are under the age of, well, let's just keep us safe, 18. If you're under the age of 18, Please go ask a parent now if you're able
right. You're
to
probably
listen
not
to
going to be
this.
into this anyway, because let's be real, boys and girls are still gross when you're kids, so.
For the most part.
For the most part.
Yeah.
At least in like an attractiveness point of view, maybe not. Yeah. Anyway, so you guys, I have several nature hotties to talk about. You are definitely going to notice a trend. I definitely have a type.
I feel like I can already peg you before
However,
you even start.
there is a wild card that I bet you will not get, and that's
okay.
if we have enough time that I can talk about my fourth one.
Okay. Do we want to do our honorable mentions after?
Yeah.
We have honorable mentions. Okay, so we'll do our honorable mentions after.
Okay.
We can't forget.
I can't wait.
So my first, I'm going to start off with a couple. I have a nature hottie couple.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Tarzan and Jane in any rendition. Okay.
in any.
So as you know, I'm sure it has been played and portrayed by many actors and actresses. The oldest experience I have with Tarzan is the Johnny Weissmuller and Maureen O'Sullivan ones from the 1930s.
Oh, I was gonna say, I was like, that's not even like old. That's old ones.
They're black and white. Yeah. So, and then there's my favorite version, which is the animated Disney version, voiced by Tony Goldwyn and Minnie Driver. That's from 1999. And then, of course, I had to mention Alexander Skarsgård and Margot Robbie's 2016 version. So, why? Why are they nature hotties? Well, they were my ultimate couple goal growing up. Honestly. I totally thought it was possible as a child to find my own Tarzan. It kept happening in movies. It seemed like it was like an attainable, like
a normal
if I was
thing.
really lucky, I might be able to find a jungle man.
Like preparing for quicksand. Eventually,
Exactly.
It's just going to happen.
You might find one.
Yeah, you're going to find quicksand. You're going to find a Tarzan.
Yeah. So, or at least like closest to a Tarzan that I could get. So in my opinion, what's not to love about Tarzan? He's ripped. He has long hair, dreads or no. He's literally a wild man raised by animals, loves nature, and is probably a straight up beast in, I don't know how far I can go, but you know what I'm talking about. Straight up beast. So, as my friends, as you know, I'm very much into the grimy look.
She is.
To a point. The grunge. Maybe grunge would be better. And I'm attracted to Tarzan's primal nature. There's something about it.
Dirt. Like if you want Laura to be attracted, you just go roll in a dirt pile and get muscles.
To a point though. Like I'm not into I can't even say this.
It's like
tactfully. I would say it's like, I'll use some fictional characters, like The Witcher, or any, like, I'm into Aragorn, like, from The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, that one I knew.
Like, tastefully grungy.
Tastefully
not
dirty.
Actually, like,
tastefully
gross.
grungy.
Yeah. So, and you know, I totally get, of course, this is a completely unrealistic way to describe what Tarzan would really be like, because let's be real, he would have never learned to speak English.
Oh yeah,
he'd probably have terrible teeth, insane facial hair, and be literally insane. Like he might actually be crazy.
No, yeah, legitimate. I mean, he's lived. I mean, not even like the animal survival side of it, but if he was like there since a
child, yeah,
alone, like 100% alone, has no social norms, no nothing.
Absolutely, yeah. But the romanticized version of Tarzan, yes, please. Jane is a hit or miss in different renditions for me. So my absolute favorite is the animated one. She's so awesome. In this version,
she's baller.
She's not quite such a damsel in distress as she is in like every other one.
Yes, and that's what I was gonna say. That's what I like about her in the cartoon one.
Right.
Is it's not like oh poor help me. It's no, this is my choice to like you. I can handle.
Exactly. And she's like really into nature. I identify with her a lot, like in some of those tests where they're like, choose 3 Disney characters who you I almost always choose Jane, because I don't know, she's really into nature. I admire her courage and determination. And here's a woman who, against the times and culture, traveled to a jungle to study apes, and she's willing to rough it and takes things as she comes, or as they come. So I love everything about her, and I wanted to be her. So why, we'll end with why is Tarzan and Jane worth getting into and watching those films. So I think all the versions are worth watching for different reasons. The 1930s are in black and white, and there are some aspects that are very dated, including racial profiling and some other non-PC aspects.
Yeah.
However, it is an interesting insight into culture in the what we assumed culture was in the 1930s. The animated film is timeless because it's funny, it'll tug your heartstrings. It does anthropomorphize everything a lot, but it's fun and has some really interesting insights into gorilla natural history. And then the 2016 movie is pure eye candy. There is no other reason to watch the 2016 version of Tarzan. Let's be real. Come on. I remember not being very impressed with the plot because I went to see it in theaters, of course. I don't remember almost anything about the story. But Alexander Skarsgård, I'd watch him do anything. Honestly. I mean, I went for him. He's shirtless in half the movie. Pure eye candy.
He's exquisite.
Exquisite. No, I couldn't say it better myself. I love him. And just, him being like primal and so the story of Tarzan is fun. It can be thought-provoking at times, like what would it be like for someone who really grew up in the jungle? Would gorillas care for a human being? How are African cultures in this movie being portrayed? And what are some true facts you've learned about nature after watching it? So I think with, enjoy Tarzan movies as you watch them, but also think. And I'll end it with,
except for the 2006, except for the 2016 version where you're not thinking,
Not thinking
don't think at all there.
Don't even think. So I watched the animated one with a 6-year-old once. Not a little girl I was watching at the time. And I was looking over at her, and I think she had never seen it before. So I was so excited to watch Tarzan with her. And I was like, I would marry Tarzan. And she looks at me really and she goes, why? And I'm like, well,
you were just judged.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, he lives in the jungle and seems like a lot of fun and he's really handsome. And she thinks for a second and she goes, you shouldn't marry anyone who doesn't wear pants.
True.
The wisdom of a 6-year-old, I suppose that's probably a pretty good role, but you know what? I would definitely date Tarzan with no pants. It's not a necessary thing in the jungle. All right, so that's Tarzan and Jane. I think they should both be called nature hotties.
I would have to agree.
Yeah,
I don't think that one you can. I don't think that one has.
Yeah, come on, it's objective nature hotties. Not objectifying, but they are objectively hot.
Kim, are you ready to go?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so as a disclaimer, people who know me know I'm terrible at watching movies. It's going to upset a lot of people that are listening to this to know that I haven't seen Jurassic Park or a lot of other essential films.
Yeah.
I know that's,
Kim.
So,
for shame.
I'm definitely going to be shouting out The Help that I received.
Oh, I thought you were about to say The Help, and I'm like, Kim, I hate to break it to you, but The Help is not a nature movie.
No! Though I have seen The Help.
It's so good.
Yeah, it is pretty great. So my first nature hottie is Emile Hirsch, who plays Chris McCandless in Into the Wild.
Oh,
okay.
Good movie.
Is Into the Wild the one where he, spoiler alert, that's the one where he eats the berries?
Yes, at the end.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
So
he's kind of along the same lines as Laura's grungy, yeah.
I gotta look up what he looks like again, I forget. Keep talking.
Well, I would look up the actor and maybe not the real person.
Chris McCandless,
Gotcha.
Yeah. Or look up Alexander Supertramp. We'll get there too.
Oh, yeah. Supertramp.
So this shout out goes to my sister, who forced me into watching this movie after she read the book.
Oh, heck yeah, go
and
sister.
I was like, yeah, sure. And then wept afterward. There's going to be a common theme of me weeping, probably.
I only have watched this once, and I remember being
it's rough.
Oh!
Yeah, it's a rough
movie.
movie.
I'm not into sad movies.
I'll let
Right?
Kim give her reasoning, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I'll let you know. Yeah, go ahead, Kim. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so a quick synopsis for those of you who may have not seen this movie. It's based on a true story, and basically after he graduates college, this guy abandons all his possessions, gives away all his money, and hitchhikes to Alaska to live in the wilderness.
To basically
And then he
find himself. Like he doesn't feel
right.
like he belongs. He doesn't feel like working 9 to 5 is the way you should go. I mean, it's very
Right.
relatable.
Yeah.
Right, absolutely. And then he meets a bunch of people, and that is inspiring and changes his life. So why I think he's a hottie? So growing up, I was always drawn to the idea of like nature survival or nature like adventure.
Yeah.
Generally, I would write like really, really bad books about teens getting stuck on deserted islands or left behind
I
somewhere.
can see that. Yeah,
and
yeah,
having to survive.
I have a teen
So many.
weird nature book too. We'll have to exchange
Yeah.
someday.
Absolutely. Does yours have a terrible love triangle? Because mine does too.
What?
Mine might actually have a love triangle.
What?
Yeah.
Come on, Katie, it's a common theme. Teens, angst, I don't know.
Apparently. Jeez.
I wanted two guys vying for my affection in my fictional books. So. So my sister told me about this book. We watched the movie. Part of the attraction was like that this person, although obviously in this situation portrayed by an actor, like really did it. He really went out into nature and like, spoiler, he attempted to survive. He did a good job for a while. And he went on so many great adventures. And also thinking about saying screw it and donating all of my money
Right?
and burning my possessions and
Yeah.
living like a vagabond and having this grand adventure is incredibly, like, it's appealing to me.
Yeah, no, totally. I always think that's such an awesome ideal. I could never do it. Unless I had to.
Right.
I don't think.
If I had the means to do it, I probably would have done it a long time ago. Like, if I didn't have an overwhelming amount of student loan debt, like, it might make the situation a little bit easier to do something like that.
It's absolute freedom, is what it is.
It is. It is.
All right, everyone. I had some newbie audio issues, so let me get back to talking about Into the Wild. So, thinking about saying, screw it, donating all of my money, burning my possessions, living like a vagabond, and having a grand adventure is incredibly appealing.
Agreed.
Especially, like, I'm a jaded adult now.
Yeah.
So, sounds thrilling.
Yeah, no, this is definitely the time of your life where you're like, all right, screw all this.
This
leaving.
sucks. We've been working long enough already. Like, to get a taste of it, we're like, you know what? We're done.
Yep.
We're done.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
And we're still young enough that we think that we could do this, and like it would be, you know what I mean, like
And not wake up with a sore back.
right,
You know,
Someone
sleep
might wake up with a
wherever.
sore back. Well, and also I like that after burning all of his stuff, he rebrands. He becomes Alexander Supertramp.
Which is an awesome
Oh.
freaking name. I need an awesome
It is a
awesome
great name, but
alias.
it definitely sounds like he might be like a gigolo.
Well, it sounds like the 90s.
Yeah.
Supertramp. Yeah.
I think we all deserve a rebranding every so often, and I would
I
like
like
to
that.
do that. So I feel him. And really what does it for me is like the pre-Alaska adventure part and the interactions he has with other people and like the personal growth journey he goes through. And I am a sucker for that.
I'm a sucker for personal growth.
I really like those deep feelings. And also shots of him looking out at the landscape and being pensive.
Okay.
You know.
Fair.
No,
fair.
it's such interesting insight into you. I love
Right.
it. I love
know.
this.
You're going to get a real look in the inner brain of Kim, which is, I don't know, so sorry.
No, I'm so excited. For both of you, I think I know you pretty well, but I think that who you find attractive for different reasons is going to tell a lot.
Yeah, we had you pegged.
Yeah, I'm
Like, we
You're
already
an open
knew.
book, Laura.
well, right. I've already told you everything anyway. Plus, yeah, I think my tastes are super primitive and cavewomanish. So, like, it's not
Very
it's not-
hunter-gatherer of you.
Seriously, yeah. You got muscles and you can provide and swing a sword. I'm in. Like,
Great. So, moving into some reasons why he might not be hot,
oh,
right?
Oh, I didn't even give any. Yeah, I was
Right?
like,
Well,
I just took it as they are.
They are,
me
No,
well, listen, the major spoiler, it doesn't end well for him.
no, it doesn't.
he's a
So-
failure at survival.
Right, he kind of failed. And though there's debate over how the real human passed, the movies went with accidental poisoning with berries and
Hunger
a slow, painful death in an abandoned bus, which,
That's
yuck.
horrible.
What kills me at the end of the movie is that he tried to go back.
Yes.
That's what kills me every time is he tried to go back, but the river was too high, and so he couldn't cross. And so for me, it was like he finally came to a point where he wanted to go home, whether it was like the physical place of home
that's tragic.
or just going back to like what he sensed was home and normal. And that's what did it to
this
me.
is why I
was
have
that
blocked this movie from my sight.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything about it because that is too sad. That's too
sad.
he was ready to go back. He was ready to be fine, and he tried, and then he died because he couldn't go back across the river, so he had to stay there.
Yeah.
And that's whenever he ended up dying.
Right, and he like misreads that the usefulness of this berry, and then it just all spirals downhill.
Yeah,
Which is also a great disclaimer, though, for any listeners: don't forage if you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Even I would even take it a step further. Is even if you think you know
Right.
what it is,
Unless you are a trained professional, I would
yeah,
say.
unless you have been trained by somebody else that absolutely knows what this is, don't eat anything you see out in the woods. It's just whether it's mushrooms, berries, whatever. It's just a bad idea.
It's risky.
Absolutely. Also, like, lighter topic. If you're looking for some solid Alexander Supertramp nudity in this, it's not.
I did not
You're not here
remember
for that. Well, because he's dying at this point. He's like floating
he's
down a
dying.
really chilly
Oh,
river.
jeez!
Like, and I was like, oh. But, like, he does meet a nudist colony during a happier part of the film, so maybe it evens out a little bit. I'm unsure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, geez, that's like somebody was just like, I hate nudity, you know, or we'll put it at the end in the death scene. Like,
Yeah.
dang.
Okay.
And he's all like skinny and frail and all of his bones, like he's all sunken in and
Yeah.
stuff at that
Ugh.
point. Like
Ugh.
his
It's
collarbone
not-
and everything, yeah.
It's not a good time. And, like, I think one of the biggest takeaways I have, and I think people who watching should watch and figure out for themselves, is he's a really polarizing figure. Like, some people see him as a, like, the American anti-hero that gave up all his stuff, and he went on this quest for self-enlightenment, and they really romanticize him and his death. And then others are just like, he was careless, he was unprepared, super foolish, had no idea what he was doing, and essentially had a death wish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. There's definitely different ways to see that story.
It's super fascinating. So, would love to hear what our listeners think of that, because
Yeah.
it's something else, man.
Hot or not. That's what
Hot
we
or
wanna hear.
not.
Hot or not.
The Into the Wild
Hot or not.
story.
Yeah. It's really good.
All right, Katie, who's your first one?
Who's my first one? None other than Dr. Alan
I
Grant.
knew it!
Because
I knew
of
it.
course.
I mean, we've
All
already
right.
mentioned him, yeah.
Yes. So, and I had to, since we already mentioned him. So, if you were a science girl growing up in the 90s, and apparently other than Kim,
Sorry.
and you didn't have some sort of interest in this man, I'm definitely going to be questioning your science girl fandom right now.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know Kim, Dr. Grant, or should we
I
call
had to
him
Google him.
Alan?
Yeah,
Yeah, she had to Google him,
Oh my.
right?
Well,
So
we've
sorry.
already the problem with that, Kim, is that we've actually already mentioned him in context So were you really listening?
But she
No.
Googled.
I had to Google.
It's
Gosh.
fine. It's fine. I
Ah.
think you can call him Dr. Grant or Alan, depending on what kind of terms you, or like what would you call him if you met him?
Grant.
Grant.
Just
All right,
Grant.
cool. Then just
Yeah.
talk to him about like that.
All right. So, for those who don't know, and Kim, he was one of the main protagonists in the Jurassic Park franchises. He's a paleontologist, has a thing for denim shirts and red bandanas, and rocks a mean wide brim hat.
Yep.
While I literally have that entire outfit at home, that's not the Kia Trashkin part. That has nothing to do with it, shockingly.
But he's handsome.
He is a good-looking guy. So as far as the movies goes, he's in the first Jurassic Park 3, and he's going to be in Jurassic Park World Dominion. Thank God he's finally back, because he really is like a staple
For Jurassic
of
Park.
of those movies.
Has he aged well?
I think so.
I think
From
so.
what I've seen of him, because he's been in things.
He's been in
years.
other movies too. Yeah. I think he's aging well. I definitely think so. Whether or not he can be as agile is part of the question. All right. So his attractiveness, it's definitely in 3 key aspects. Well, like I will say 2 major ones that do relate to nature, and a third one that sort of underlies him as a character itself.
Yeah.
So all right, so we'll just jump into it. All right, number 1 is his intelligence and passion for his field of study.
Yeah.
So he's a paleontologist, so science minds unite. Given his in-movie active research on birds evolving into dinosaurs, he's kind of like a fringe paleontologist at the time.
Yeah, I can see that.
Who was ahead of his time. His passion for dinosaurs is only surpassed by his intelligence, which says a lot, because if you've seen the movie, he almost passes out when he sees a dinosaur for the first time.
Yeah, it's really sweet.
Like he can't.
It's a cute moment.
Like he can't handle it. So like many PhDs in the movie, or if you read the book, he's published, having written a book along with several papers on dinosaur bird evolution topic. He's extremely interested in his career, and as I said before, it's a passion for him. And of course, we need intelligent paleontologists, especially ones that are easy on the eyes, because the better we understand our past, the more we can look and learn, about the future. Let's see here. So he's also intelligent to know how cool what they've done on Jurassic Park, but also what a horrible idea it is. Like he He
didn't drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, he fully knows, like, oh my gosh, look what you guys have done. This is incredible. Like, you've created dinosaurs, I'm gonna pass out. But yeah, he knows, like, this is a horrible idea, what you've just done. So, number 1, intelligence, passion, definitely an attractive, especially when it comes to knowledge on science. Yeah. I mean, I just, you gotta like what you do, and I like having, my husband and I, we have intelligent, like, science-based conversations all the time, so I like that. All right, so number 2, he acts as a standoffish guy. However, when he's with kids, either leading Tim and Lex Murphy to safety in Jurassic Park or Eric Kirkby in Jurassic Park 3, he turns into a totally different person.
Except
so he acts
at the beginning of the first movie when
at the beginning
wrecks that child,
because he's annoyed. He's annoyed with it, but as soon as he's put into like a protective role, like there are numerous times he could have let the kids get eaten. And he totally would have been better off by himself. Yet he keeps them alive and often putting himself in danger to save them. On numerous occasions. He even has one of the best dad jokes before dad jokes became popular, and that was the infamous grabbing of the fence when the power was off. So, do you remember that? So
my dad does stuff like that all the time.
All the time. So, Kim, there's a part. Have you seen Jurassic Park? No.
Wait,
you've never?
Absolutely not.
I am dead.
We're gonna have to hook you up. So there's a part in the movie where they're trying to cross the electric fence, and it says like electric fence and everything, and so he's like, well, he throws a stick against it, which you're like, okay, well, whatever, stick's not going to do anything. And so he grabs it. The power's dead all over the island, and they knew that to begin with, but they didn't know if it came on. So whenever he grabs it, he like starts shaking and like screams, and the kids are screaming and freaking out. And then he just like stops and turns around and like smiles. And that is like the most dad thing ever. So and he did it, right? And so it was really good. So, but the real reason for number 2 is he doesn't hesitate throughout the movie to pass knowledge off to the kids. Like once he, got comfortable enough, even though he, at the beginning, like you said, Laura, he is annoyed by Tim's questions and, the explanation how Tim went into how his book wasn't as thick as another, he still took the time out to teach and to talk to him, even though he did pretend like he was annoyed. Yeah. As time went on and he didn't allow the children to become dino kibbles, he teaches them more and more. So really, as folks in the science field, when we take time out of our busy lives to answer kids' bajillion questions, that honestly means so much for kids.
And that's just why I do what I do.
Right? Yeah, because it's if some, because people in our lives did that for us. Yeah. And it meant the world. I mean, we're in this field because of that. So number 2 was his ability to pass his knowledge off to kids, because really, what guy isn't hot when he's really good with kids? Yeah. Makes sense. All right, so lastly, because we do have other things to get to, and I could just keep going on, but this is a minor one, but it's not nature related, but let's be real here. It's his relationship with Dr. Ellie Sattler.
That weird sexual tension. Yeah.
So, oh my god, what the actual fudge? All right, so in the movie they're dating. So you can pick up on like the subtle hints throughout it that they are
subtle though.
That they are together. It is super subtle. But so they don't give us a ton of clues in the movie. But they are even like on a dinosaur island. Like there's clearly sexual tension between the two of them. And at the ending, the look they give when they're in the helicopter. Do you know what I'm talking about? Whenever
I think so.
Rewatch it, it's clear like she like looks right at him straight in the eyes and is like, give me your bandana wearing babies. Like that is straight up. And then for her, because she's a a paleobotanist. Yeah. And so I mean it's the same thing. Like he gives her that same look back. In the books they're not together. And so, but they never do kiss, and so it's kind of like the tension back and forth. Like she makes a comment. I guess there were some deleted scenes. If you watch the extended, there are some deleted scenes in Jurassic Park where they, and I don't even know if they. I think it might just be on that bonus DVD stuff. But there are some deleted scenes that were cut that they made it very evident that they were like making out over a dig site and stuff. That they did make it very evident, like, these two are together, and then it cut because they were like, well, we don't want the focus to be on those two. I'm like, listen, any woman with a uterus is wondering and picks up on that tension. So we all know. And so they never kiss. In Jurassic Park 3, she's married, which is like, to not even just married, but she's married to a guy that works at the State Department. So no offense to like any State Department workers, but she's literally passing up Alan Grant for a State Department worker, which just doesn't make sense. So I think the franchise messed that up. But again, like I said, they're not in a relationship in the books. So like in the movies, take it wherever you want. They should be. And so it was added, and it's really frustrating, that sexual tension. However, there is hope, because there have recently been some leaked images on the internet that while filming Jurassic Park Dominion, Grant and Sattler kiss. Is it true? We'll just, time will tell, and only my loins can hope. All right, so that was the first one, Dr. Alan Grant. You'll also see a theme through all of mine.
I think we're gonna have to go faster.
We are, but just brief it up. My next two, that was definitely the longest out of all of them. They do get
It's the one you're really
shorter.
gunning for.
I'm passionate about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I might as well, because I knew you would know that one, so I figured I might as well.
Yeah.
We'll have that one go first. But you'll also notice a theme through mine. But shout out to Sam Neill. If you guys haven't seen, what's the movie? He was in a really
Any
funny
Sam Neill movie. Is
Well, we
really
already
good.
know I haven't seen it. So.
You've definitely seen something with him in it, for sure. Not maybe as Alan Grant, but as Sam Neill. Yeah.
Okay, if you guys haven't seen Sam Neill in Hunt for the Wilder People, it's not everyone's cup of tea. It is so funny. I don't want to spoil it, but basically he takes in a kid, or him and his wife take in a foster kid. Just watch it. It's like a troubled teen. It's so good, so funny. Hunt for the Wilder People. Sam Neill did a fantastic job. Also, you should follow him on Instagram, because he's not very active, but when he does post, he has a farm, and so it's always like him holding like a sheep. Like, it's always
That's adorable.
Yeah.
Well, I'll take it from here, because actually my next movie has Sam Neill in it. Ironically.
Oh, there we go.
It's not about him. I'm going to glaze over Sam Neill, and I'm going to focus on Mowgli specifically, all right, the 1994 live-action Jungle Book movie. Okay. If you haven't
Oh, goodness.
I am going to talk about...
I don't think I have seen it. I've seen spurts of it.
This movie is seriously fantastic. But first of all, who plays Mowgli in 1994 Jungle Book? It's Jason Scott Lee. Whoa. I remember as a child, my mom being like, whoa. And my mom wasn't usually a person that would say, like, if she thought someone was super attractive, at least when we were younger.
Isn't he the bad guy in Mulan, in the live-action Mulan?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so.
But he has got seriously anyway, we'll get into this. So, as you can see, Mowgli is basically just a different version of Tarzan.
Yes, essentially.
I'm like Mowgli.
And wait, we should clarify for those who have not seen this version.
Oh, right, he's an adult.
He's an adult. It is not a child.
Yes.
So just to clarify,
Thank you. That for me.
Yes.
Yes, he is. This is a completely different story than you've seen before.
Yes.
So I like Mowgli for very similar reasons to Tarzan. He was raised by animals. He's very in tune with nature. He's shown to be best friends with his animal companions, and he communicates with them, even if it isn't with human language. So in this version, Mowgli is grown up and trying to find his way in human society while still feeling connected to the jungle. So this movie it's all live action, including the animals in it. So there is no, talking animals, and the story isn't on him and the animals. It's on him becoming a man in society, but trying to still keep his roots in the jungle. It's really cool. So he's really sweet in it and very charming. Like, Jason Scott Lee does such a good job of, like, playing a character who is both naive in the fact that so in this version, he started living in the jungle as, like, probably a 6 or 7 year old. So he was not from birth. So he knew how to talk and everything. It was since then that he was in the jungle for, like, the next 10, years. So he's, like, super naive about everything, but still very, like, suave and charming. He is very well built, has a killer smile. Like, one of those, you know how, like, some people have a smile that it's both, like, handsome but also sweet at the same time, like, almost like a side smile? Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that one.
He talks constantly about respecting the jungle and nature and shows a range of emotions throughout the movie regarding both humans and animals. So it's an in-depth movie. So why is it worth watching? And why is he hot in this movie besides just the physical reasons, okay? Because this one really is him as a person. I cannot recommend this movie enough. It is so good for so many reasons. So first of all, the entire movie revolves around the theme of respecting nature. Mowgli is trying to teach this to others, and we see the outcome of human greed and exploitation of nature, and it doesn't turn out well. So this is, you know, the story of Mowgli takes place during, like, colonialization of India.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you're seeing two very different points of view, which is very interesting. So he's constantly trying to remind the soldiers and things like that, you know, nature is valuable and we should be respecting nature and it's not something to be messed with and things like that. So that definitely, like, was like, oh yeah, I totally identified with that as a kid and as an adult. Nearly all of the animals in the film are real. I can think of one exception. But all of them are real. So this is before.
Are they, because I haven't seen it. Is it true to that area? Or is it like George of the Jungle who puts an orangutan in Africa?
Yes. This one should be true. I can't. I think so. Although it might surprise you because you see, like, a bear. I don't think it's the right kind of bear. I think that they probably used a brown bear rather than, like, a sloth bear.
Yeah.
But, and there are wolves, but there are wolves in India because I checked.
Yes.
So yeah, it's pretty good about it. So this is before you know, like, all the movies started using CGI animals. So if you want to see some awesome animal training, this is the movie. I mean, holy cannoli. You've got tigers fighting real people, and it looks like the tiger's about... I mean, it is some seriously good training. I would never be able... Whoa. It's pretty scary. So, also, unlike the other versions of the Jungle Book, the animals don't talk, and they aren't anthropomorphized so much. So, of course, Shere Khan the tiger is dangerous, but he isn't the true villain of the movie, which I find really refreshing. Because I often was like, oh man, like, I love tigers. I wish he wasn't the bad guy. Like,
yeah, right?
Why does a panther get to be a good guy and a tiger's a bad guy?
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So he is not the true villain in this movie, although many people think that he is in the movie. What kind of, we're talking about, it's really examining humanity and human greed and stuff like that. And you see human beings as being both good and kind and incredibly selfish and cruel. It's got a lot of other plot points, and we're shown a glimpse of colonialism, which isn't necessarily pretty, which I also find refreshing.
The real side, more of the real side of
right, and of
what
course
happened.
This is the early 90s, and so I'm sure there's some dated aspects of this movie.
Yeah.
However, it deeply explores the concept of greed, which I like. And it has a stellar cast, all right? So it's got Sam Neill in it. It's got Lena Headey, Carrie Elwes, and John Cleese. All famous actors and
I was
actresses.
going to say, that's more of a lineup.
Got big.
That's what I was going to say. That's more of a lineup than what I thought it was.
Yeah,
that I had.
Lena Headey had probably not been in very much before, but of course now we know her for Game of Thrones. Carrie Elwes, Princess Bride, so he'd already been in some things. Sam Neill, we got Jurassic Park, and then John Cleese, like Monty Python stuff and things like that. But it is so good. Please watch this movie. It is hard to find because nobody really knows it exists, but it is a really good movie. But it does have quicksand in it, and
there's the quicksand,
and it has the snake in the snake in the water.
See, my theory stands correct. That is in the 90s. 90s kids, we grew up to fear quicksand and snakes in the water.
I literally had to turn away from the quicksand scene in this movie almost every time I watched it because it's it's like an awful, slow, suffocating death.
That's
I was
rough.
Like, oh, gee, like I couldn't watch it as a kid. It was too scary.
Yeah, at least go quickly.
Yeah, the only thing that's not real in the movie, is the snake. Because it's a giant.
Well, and, training a snake,
Yes, to do what it does in the movie.
Right.
Irresponsible. I mean, the tiger, you're already like, but the snake, no way. It couldn't be.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good. All right,
you're number 2. All right, Kim, you're number 2.
All right, you guys. Strap in. This is a new one for me. Have you seen the movie Tracks?
No.
Tracks? No.
Okay. Well, you're going to want to put it on your list, but you're also going to need some, like, horizontal time afterward.
No, wait. For what reason? Wait. If it's sadness, I'm not.
It's emotional. It's sad.
Okay,
It's
not what I'm in.
You're not going to be so moved to hop into the sheets, Laura.
Oh, well, I mean, there are some movies where you're like, okay, like specifically like BBC, you know, like that kind of, yeah, that like weird, like super sexual tension, and they finally touch hands at the end of the movie. That like gets me,
Right.
But I don't want, I can't handle like, if this isn't another like Into the Wild, I can't. Like, it's too sad.
Well, I'm not going to explain why because I'm not going to spoil anything. But okay.
Wait, like TRACKS,
Yeah,
like tracks. Okay,
yeah.
okay,
Like animal tracks.
like animal tracks. Okay, all right.
You can't see my pantomime in your ears, but it's great.
Making sure it's not like TRAX.
No.
You know, like tracks.
No, not at all.
I will need to clarify.
And so the person that you're going to want to watch in this is the main character, played by Mia Wasikowska. You're welcome. She plays Robin
I was
Davidson.
looking her up. How do you spell her last? How do you spell her last name?
Well, it starts with a W.
Oh, there's my first mistake.
Yeah, it's
here she
WAS. Mm-hmm. She also was in Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, Jane Austen.
Okay.
Jane Eyre.
Oh yeah, Jane Eyre. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yep.
I like her a lot.
I haven't seen this movie, but I know what this movie is now.
Yes.
Now that I've seen the pictures. Okay.
So,
okay.
first of all, a shout out to my friend Leah for suggesting this movie, but I'm immediately taking that shout out back because part of it made me scream cry for 30 minutes.
Oh my god.
30 minutes! Dang.
I haven't scream cried since Troy.
Oh.
So it's been that long.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while. So, like, plan your day accordingly if you're going to watch this movie.
Oh my gosh.
And to give you a quick synopsis, the year is 1977, and a young Australian woman sets out from Alice Springs to trek across, I think it's like 1,700 miles, which is 2,700 kilometers of desert in Western Australia to reach the ocean. She's accompanied by her dog and 4 camels.
Whoa.
I would love to, just bring my herd of camels.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
4 camels that were feral and she trained. She has no other purpose than to go to the ocean and find herself. Another journey of self-discovery. You can see my theme.
Yeah.
Why she's hot. 1, she loves animals dearly. Like, it's the best character trait. She's, like, spooning her dog by the campsite.
Yeah.
And, like, is like, oh, this bull camel? Is that male?
Yes.
They call bulls,
Correct.
too, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he's just misunderstood. Like, she doesn't say that. But she's like, here, let me try and touch your face to tame you.
Yeah.
But, like, the problem is, it seems like it's really easy for her to train these camels and have had minimal problems. And throughout, like, the whole journey. And I'm like, I've met some camels.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
Let's give us some
I
more
have
realistic camel
The
interactions.
camels I've met are jerks.
Yes. Every camel I've met's a jerk except for the babies.
She does
Baby
have one
camels
baby.
have been real
The baby's
snuggly.
really cute.
Yeah. Baby camels that I've worked with are really snuggly and cute. And then they reach a certain point and then they become jerks.
Yeah. So, I was like, this seems not quite true to form. Like, I bet in real life she had an actual problem with these camels. And so she's also very thoughtful in her choice of, like, human interaction for the most part. And what I mean by that is she finds the majority of people frustrating, annoying. I can relate. I get it. She just wants to be on her own.
Just a way.
However, so there's this photographer character played by Adam Driver.
I just saw who else was in this. Yeah.
And you would think, based solely on the movie cover, or like the poster, that it would be this lovely romantic story. You'd think Yum. His character is so annoying.
Oh, is it?
I feel like that's
so
not a
annoying.
surprise. He seems like he could play an easily
An annoying person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He played an annoying photographer really well. And then she still chooses to have, like, this sort of, like, he only is in it for himself. He doesn't respect any of, like, the indigenous people. He's just like, not cool and kind of a dweeb. And she's like, I guess you're okay. Let's make out a little bit.
I mean, what else are you gonna do?
If you're lonely with your 4 camels and dogs, like
going on a 1,000-mile journey or whatever it is, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, similar to what Laura says, she dirties up well.
She does, yeah.
I now have a very skewed perception of what Australia heat does to people, and I'm not sad about it. Yeah. I'm like, you look pleasantly dirty.
Yeah. A little baked, but yeah.
She's really Australian, too.
She really is, yeah.
Yeah.
And unlike Chris McCandless of Into the Wild, she's successful in her journey.
Oh, so then why am I so sad? It's just, like, emotionally exhausting? It's, like, up and down?
Listen,
well, she doesn't want to spoil it.
All I need to know is there a happily ever after? Because that's usually the only movies I'm into, unless I'm specifically looking to cry.
I would say it's a serene neutral.
Okay. Okay. Possibly then.
Yeah.
Because I would say Into the Wild is a solid sad.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
Okay.
No,
okay.
I would say that this is like, ups and downs, trials and tribulations, really sad bit that is kind of the catalyst to her self-growth, I think.
Cool.
Yeah. It's great. It's wonderful.
I bet it has to do with the animals. I bet it does.
Listen.
Those animal movies, there's always something that will make you bawl.
There's always something.
Yeah,
you can't put animals in a movie without them having a purpose. So, yeah.
To die.
To
die.
Usually to die.
I finally watched Marley and Me, like, recently.
Oh, why'd you do that to yourself?
I knew it was going to be sad. That's why I never watched it before. And then I was finally like, well, maybe. I'll give it a try. And yeah, it was just as sad as I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you really didn't need to do that to yourself. Well, that is my second person, Robin.
I like her.
Mia.
I can agree with that, yeah. I'll have to watch it now.
Yeah, I definitely want to watch it,
I would
too.
recommend.
You piqued my interest.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
It's got pretty good ratings. Like Rotten Tomatoes, 82%. That's pretty good for Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to look. I'll have to figure out where I can download it or
you
whatever.
can watch it for free on Amazon, I think. With
oh, can you? Okay.
With a membership?
With commercials, I think.
Oh,
so that's less fun.
Yeah.
Or
I can deal with commercials.
Either way.
Yeah, I can deal with commercials. Not too bad. Alrighty.
Number 2.
Are you guys ready for my number 2?
I'm so ready.
Yeah. Intellectual.
The movie.
Is what it's going to be.
The movie is Twister.
Never
Bill
watched
Harding.
It, but I do know who
what?
you're talking about. Yeah,
Bill Harding.
I've never seen Twister. I know I like a lot about it, but I've never actually seen it.
Man, well, like you said, intellectuals. It's scientists.
Yeah.
For me,
Carl.
For
this
me,
is all just really good for Carl. This is a really good reflection on you.
Yeah, right. It goes well in his favor. For me, it's brains. It's a guy who has a passion for what he's doing.
Yeah.
All right. So this will be really quick. So for those who haven't seen the movie, just stop what you're doing and go watch it. So Laura, we're just gonna pause here and then we'll pick up when you.
When you're gonna come back.
Well, I'm going to have to watch it too. So
I think
Laura,
I
we
might
can
have
coordinate.
seen bits and pieces.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Wait, didn't he just die?
Bill Paxton, yes, he did. He's actually from Fort Worth. Well, this movie is not Twister. It's not like amazing level of Jurassic Park or Avatar to me, but it's like a good fallback. Like if you're sitting around Saturday afternoon, you're like, you know what, I want to watch a movie. It's a good one to watch. So also fun fact, Michael Crichton or whatever, who wrote Jurassic Park novels, actually wrote the screenplay for the movie Twister.
Interesting.
So, yeah, fantastic storyteller, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically the gist is Bill Harding is a storm chaser in the process of divorcing with his wife, Jo Harding, who that is my first combination of the two. So she is definitely up there on the list too. Again, she's like an intelligent, intellectual scientist. But he is ready to move on with his new girlfriend. When they meet up to sign the divorce papers, he sees what's called Dorothy, and that's an acronym, which is the machine that would revolutionize our understanding of tornadoes, which is something that killed Joe Harding, his soon-to-be ex-wife's dad, and fueled her passion. So, as luck would have it, of course, because it's a movie, a thunderstorm with possible tornadoes is nearby, so signing the papers is delayed, of course.
Yep.
So what makes, right, just all of a sudden it's going to be there. So what makes Bill Harding a nature hottie? Similar characteristics as Dr. Grant. One, passion for his job. He's so passionate that he, like, straight up has blinders on. I think in the movie, too, like, his background, he's actually technically a meteorologist, I think.
Makes sense.
But his background is more of this deeper science of it, not like a surface.
Yeah.
Like there's different, he's more of like the research backing of it. But he completely gets in the zone and concentrates on literally nothing else but getting the best results. And so that's, he was the original creator of Dorothy, but didn't stick around to see it, to come to fruition. So again, a man who thinks beyond, the current scope of science to find answers. Like, it's the thinking outside the norm and not accepting science as is and thinking outside the box.
That's cool. So your definition, like, your hot is exceptional thinking. Like, out of the norm thinking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like willing to push the limits on current, I guess, standards to progress us further towards something. Because, I mean, you think about, like, Dr. Grant with the dinosaurs. I mean, yes, it's just a movie, but, his whole study was the birds and, like, do dinosaurs have feathers? And he thinks they look like more birds. And he was kind of like a fringe and out there scientist because he was pushing the envelope of what our current definition of things were. And I think that's really the only way. Well, I don't think that is really the only way science grows.
Yeah,
is by pushing that envelope to go on to other things. So anyway, so number 2 then, spoiler alert. Although he does want to divorce his wife, he can't contain himself, literally. Again, there is tension throughout the whole movie.
Does he disrobe?
No, he doesn't. I don't think he does during it.
He explode?
No, like, he can't contain, like, he wants to divorce his wife, but he just can't help it anymore. Like, he ends up going back with her.
Oh.
Like, he can't contain that, like, the tension between them. Like, he ends up breaking up, because I think it was his, well, I said girlfriend, but I think technically it's a fiance. Because I think he was trying to divorce, finalize the divorce so then he could move on to be with this other lady. But he just, like, halfway through this tornado chasing journey, he's just like, you know what? I can't, well, she kind of picks up on what's going on here, that he still, like, has a thing with her. Yeah, and so she kind of cuts it off before he does. It's like one of those things. So anyway, so both of them, though, they're working together to find solutions to problems that could/would save lives. And what better way to have fun with science than with someone you love who you're attracted to? So those are the 2 points I have for Bill Harding. I try to keep it shorter than Alan Grant, but intelligent, and then just, like, loyalty, even though they were kind of getting through a divorce. But, he went back to her.
Sounds like kind of a douche, but okay.
Sounds like a messy love triangle.
Yeah.
Like one of my stories.
Yeah, right? All right, Laura, number 3.
My nature hottie, hear me out. It's Anthony Hopkins in The Edge. Okay.
Interesting. Okay,
Yes.
What's your justification?
Yes. All right. So, listen. I do not care that Anthony Hopkins was 59 years old in this movie. He was and is a straight up silver fox, in my opinion. However, like, I didn't grow up, my first Anthony Hopkins movie was this. It wasn't Silence of the Lambs. He's never been creepy to me.
Okay.
So,
yeah, because it is hard to separate.
Yes, I'm sure. So this was my first Anthony Hopkins movie. It was my first R-rated movie. This movie came out, I believe, in 96 or 97, so I was 6 or 7 years old. And And needless to say, this is a dad decision to let me watch this movie.
My dad's, that was my first R-rated movie, was Terminator.
Right.
The Terminator 2. And that was Dad's call.
Okay, Dad. So, anyway, I'm sure many of you have think that I've lost it, but it was the first role I ever saw him in, and he's really awesome. So why do I like him so much in this movie? It's for very similar reasons that Katy, you've been mentioning. He is so smart and so resilient, and I am insanely attracted to his competency.
Yeah.
Yes, do I think Anthony Hopkins is handsome, but what really does it for me in this movie is his personality. So, it's an incredible story of, this movie is famous in my family. We've watched it a million times. It's an incredible story of survival in the Alaskan wilderness, so I'm already down. It's kind of like, how Hatchet, the book Hatchet, kind of like survival. Mm-hmm. So, although his character is a prominent businessman, he has a passion for the outdoors and has learned all sorts of survival skills and environmental knowledge. And he doesn't talk very much. He's kind of removed. His wife's way younger than him. Everyone who works for him is way younger than him, but he's filthy rich. So everyone wants to be his friend.
Yeah, of course.
But he's really into the environment. He's very well read. So this knowledge comes in handy when he and a group of others survive a plane crash, especially when they begin to be hunted by a bear. So I was, it's a,
what?
Yes. So it's a good movie. Yes. Is it slightly ridiculous? Yes. But so I was so in awe of his awesome skills as a child. His knowledge, his bravery, it was super impactful. So why do I think this movie's worth watching, and what, again, some details of why I think that I find him hot. Just as we discussed in season 1 of our podcast, who doesn't love a good nature survival story?
Absolutely.
I
hear you.
Promise that you will learn legitimate wilderness survival skills and biology watching this movie, which is cool. For example, he knows how to turn a watch into a compass. And some stuff
I thought you were just going to say turn a watch. I was like, I can do that.
No. Turn a watch into a compass and stuff. So it's just really cool. And some biology. However, this movie does have a man-eating bear with a taste for human blood, which is, of course, completely fictitious. There is no such thing as, once a bear, eats man flesh, that's
taste
all it wants.
the blood, yeah.
I mean, would a bear eat you if you were wounded? Yeah. But, it's not going to then hunt the rest of your party for the
humans,
rest of the...
Yeah.
So, remember what you're watching is fiction. But you can still get some good information from the movie. And, again, this is a movie that explores the concept of greed and survival. So I think I'm really attracted to that storyline. And also with Tarzan, it's about survival. So,
yeah.
I'm always rooting for the guy that can survive.
Grungy survival, guys.
Yeah, it's a caveman. That's what So, also, it's got a pretty good, it's got some other, great actors in it, including Alec Baldwin is in this movie.
That's right, yeah.
And also has incredible animal training. Bart the Bear is in this, and for any of you who are familiar with animal training, Bart the Bear is the most famous grizzly bear in movies.
Yeah.
He's huge.
Yeah, he's ginormous.
Such an awesome job in this movie of seeming absolutely terrifying. You're definitely yeah, that bear's gonna eat that dude.
Also, I mean, his name's Bart. Come on now.
No, you can't take
Bart
him seriously.
the bear. Yeah.
He's really good in it. And yeah, it's a good story with some epic one-liners. Yeah, it's really good. But Anthony Hopkins, attracted to his intelligence and his determination to survive, because he is freaking determined that he is making it out of the Alaskan wilderness at 59.
I have one follow-up question.
Yes.
Does he have facial hair in this movie?
Not at the beginning.
I don't think so.
I think maybe by the end, because they've been in the wilderness, he's gotten some stubble, but I don't think he is. I don't think so. And he usually is clean-shaven in his movies. It seems like.
I obviously Googled him because I wanted to see the era of Anthony Hopkins that you were going for. And him with facial hair kind of looks like my father-in-law.
Whoa.
And now I'm
Keep
shook.
Laura away from your father-in-law.
So yeah, that's my wild card.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have. I mean, it's definitely a wild card, but I can see it how it connects.
Yeah.
Her,
Well, I'm going to build off of that because I also have a wild card.
Whoa.
And that's because I kind of broke the rules on this one. But I don't care. It's valid.
She's our first time she's on our show, and now she's a rule
And
breaker.
what's she gonna break?
That's
How are
right.
we breaking it?
Yeah.
What's happening?
What are our
movie.
rules? Yeah. Okay.
We said media.
Yeah, we said media.
It's true. We did broaden it to media.
Yeah.
But when it was originally movies, I'm like, I'm going to break this rule.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So hear me out. Jeff Probst, from the host of Survivor, the TV show.
Oh my. I never watched.
I need a shout
I never
out.
watched Survivor.
Well, you made a mistake because if you know me,
I do know
wanna
that about
desperately
you.
Go on
Yeah.
this. I want to go on the show.
Yes.
It's entering its 41st season. This
Oh
fall.
my gosh.
Gosh.
That's too many.
Oh, yeah. So shout out to my easily influenced 11-year-old self for hopping on the reality TV bandwagon 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So, and if you haven't seen Survivor, and you should also just stop right now and watch a full season before finishing this podcast.
Yeah, I don't know if any like Gen Zers watch Survivor. I highly doubt it. I feel like that's just
They're on it.
Really?
really.
Like the older ones, yeah, the ones that are
The older Gen
young adults
Zers
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Like the Zillennials, for sure.
Okay. The
Yeah.
in-betweeners.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So the goal of the show, you have to outwit, outplay, and outlast 20-ish other contestants on a deserted island.
Right, because
Can you hear my air
I definitely
quotes?
thought that I could do this show when I was younger. I was like, oh, I could be on
Oh, yeah.
Survivor. But then I forget that it's like all like, it's the drama of getting voted and stuff. And that's what I don't know if
It's the drama, it's set. It's not like, it's survival, but it's not
Right.
survival like Laura and I know.
Yeah.
There's also some, there's psychological warfare in
Yeah.
this.
Yes.
I don't think I can handle
Yes.
There's a
that.
lot of people manipulation. But listen, it's to win $1 million. Jeff Probst is the host, and I just want to be on the show.
I just
want it
This
so
is Kim's plug. Please let's get Kim on Survivor.
That would be
Please.
amazing. Please do. He's got a nice smile.
Right? So why Jeff is hot? One, he has a solid nose and a weathered look.
Yeah.
But not like I tan too much
A
weathered.
solid nose.
He does. He
He
have
has
a
a
solid nose.
solid nose. And my Polishness is like, yes, I must have this
Yes.
nose.
I actually do know someone whose type is a big nose, so it's not unheard of.
It's totally
It's
me.
not
That
even
is
just you. I know
100%
another
my
person
thing.
then.
I want to meet this person.
Yeah.
You'd like
You
her.
guys can just talk about noses.
All the time. All the time. The show is amazing. And currently, he is the executive producer, director, and the
Probably
host.
rich.
Oh,
like-
jeez.
So
Probably rich.
He also, I think he might still have a talk show. I don't want to be on that. I don't.
Just
want anything
Survival.
to do with
Okay.
that. Just Survivor. So he has a lot of power on how the show is shaped and evolves over time, and he's doing a great job. So good on him. Proud of him. As the
Of him and
seasons
his
have gone
nose.
on- Of him and his nose
Yeah.
and his weathered look.
Dude, I'm currently looking at an article called Survivor 10 Coolest Facts About Host Jeff Probst and Things You Probably Didn't Know.
Whoa.
I'll have to send it to you.
Craziness.
You might. Whoa,
Please
he's
send it.
shirtless. He's shirtless in this one.
Oh, is he hairy? I feel like he might be
No,
hairy.
he is clean as a baby's butt. He's in from. This is from how either 2.5 Men or How I Met Your Mother.
This is great. Please send.
Okay.
We won't. tell
Anyway,
my
keep
husband. It's
talking.
fine. Yeah. So, as the seasons have gone on, he is a lot more like snarky with the contestants.
He's just becomes.
So,
I mean, I
so-
would be too after all those
Right.
years.
all the drama.
Right? His quips during tribal council, and his like tongue-in-cheek narrations of challenges are absolutely hilarious. If you don't believe me, watch any immunity challenge with a solid puzzle that someone is totally failing, or when they have to navigate balls through an oversized marble maze. That's hilarious. He's He's just funny, man.
He's just
and also,
funny.
finally, have you ever seen him snuff a torch? The tribe has spoken. Yum. I rest my case.
Yum.
I feel like there was a lot of jargon in that from a Survivor watcher, so I'm like half on board and half like, I don't know what's going on. But
but he's got a nice nose.
He's got a good smile.
But you know what? The fans will know.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. Do you know that he has 4 Primetime Emmy Awards? That is impressive.
Yes.
From that show, I'm assuming?
I'm assuming.
I think that's, it has to be.
4 consecutive years, 2008 to 2011. The prime years.
Yeah. Really the peak.
Yeah, I'm sure. All right. No, I can see it. All right, I guess then let's do, you do your third one, Katie, and then we'll do a couple honorable mentions.
Yeah, we got to get through some honorable mentions, too. All right, so last but not least, this is a twofer. Joe Young and Greg O'Hara from Mighty Joe Young.
Yes.
See? And it has nothing, and I will put this disclaimer, it really has nothing to do with Bill Paxton, rest in peace.
No.
Who plays both Bill Harding and Greg O'Hara. I strictly like the characters.
But yeah.
He just happens to both
Charlize
play.
Theron. Now she's gorgeous.
What?
Charlize Theron.
Oh, yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
She's beautiful.
So, all right. So they both have the same vibe. Again, type. All right. Mighty Joe Young. If you haven't seen it, this one you need to stop and go watch it.
And this one, the roles are reversed, which I kind of like. That it's your switch of the roles.
Yeah.
Of what you typically like.
Yes, definitely. So Joe Young, whose mother is killed by poachers protecting a guerrilla group, and then 12 years later, Greg O'Hara, he's a wildlife refuge director, comes to Africa to collect blood samples, hears the legends of Joe, and he crosses paths with Joe, and Joe is a gorilla that was with the guerrilla group that when the mother was killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's orphaned. So they kind of bond over that. And
he's freaking giant. Like, we're talking
he's
a giant gorilla.
It's just that
they never say.
Yeah, they never say. Oh. It's just like the story. He's just huge. Like a couple stories tall. Like unrealistic. Like so far past unrealistic.
Or at least maybe not like 20
feet. He's got to be 20 feet tall.
Sure, yeah.
All right, so I'm going to say Bill Paxton, but it's not. It's Greg O'Hara's character. Greg O'Hara, his path crosses with Joe Young, and then it's just from there. So it's first with Joe, and then runs into Joe Young. All right, now I said both of them because, let's be fair, Joe Young here, she really is the badass.
Oh, yeah,
in the video.
Cool one.
Yeah, by far. She takes care of herself in an African continent riddled with poachers, and she's pretty much grown up on her own after her mother's passing. Like, they talk about how the one local guy, the older guy...
A village, I think, helped raise her, but...
Yeah, helped raise her, but, like, she stayed there. She, too, I mean, she's intelligent, she's incredibly passion-filled, and cares nothing more than to protect Joe, who I'm sure she sees as her mother's living legacy. Yeah. Essentially.
And her best friend.
And her best friend. Yeah, because, I mean, they were both orphaned on the same night. So they definitely kind of grow close because of that. And then Greg O'Hara, however, sees that Joe's days are numbered and he needs to be protected. And he believes he can do so by flying Joe to the U.S. And he means well.
This is such a facet. Now that I'm older, it'd be really cool to watch this movie again and think about it from a conservation point of view. Because before I watched it for entertainment.
Yeah, but it's definitely. I would say definitely watch it now because I think like you said, it just gives you a different perspective on it. Because Jill isn't buying that he's going to be safer in the U.S., but after more close encounters with poachers, she decides that is the best place for him to be. So, long story short, things get crazy after there, and I don't want to spoil any of it. So, Nature Hotties, I already said Joe Young, her intelligence, her passion, badassery to protect wildlife, like, she does not hesitate to stand between someone and a gun to protect what she knows needs to be protected. So, I mean, come on. Yet she's still nurturing enough to take care of Joe, who's in the movie is basically an overgrown child with a temper. Yes, I mean, it's still like a gorilla.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
it's
so
like
she's
King Kong-ish. It's kind of like that dynamic, like
yeah. So being a woman, her style game is way up, compared to the other men I listed earlier. She just dresses better than, denim shirt, bandana everywhere.
Objectified as in most movies, which is really refreshing.
Exactly. Yeah, because you think of so many strong female lead roles. There is some objectifying, some revealing clothing.
It's got the sex appeal. That's why
it has to have the sex appeal. And this one doesn't.
She's gorgeous, but she doesn't.
She is.
Yeah.
Tastefully.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and I mean, really, it's cool. And I say all the time, like, let's, like, be practical. I would totally cut my hair that short. And I definitely wanted my hair cut like hers whenever I was younger. But my hair would just go into a fro. All right, so together, Joe Young and Greg O'Hara are passionate, and they do want the best for Joe and the better of conservation. They're just coming at it from two totally different avenues and ultimately finding the best situation together.
Yeah.
So that's just coming at it. I don't know. Again, watch it now that you're older, Laura, because I'd be interested to see what your thoughts are now.
Yeah, because I've watched it several times through the years. I just don't know if it's probably been at least 10 to 12.
Yeah. Definitely go back and watch it now. But it's definitely like Bill and Joe Harding. I mean, like this situation with Joe Young, I mean, it was a lot better because one, they weren't divorced and didn't come back. Right. But they were doing something together with somebody. Yeah. So it's the passionness together. And so that for me, that kind of wraps up this part of that personality characteristic is that doing something with somebody you love, doing something that you love. Yeah. Which is really fun. Even though she doesn't come out and say that she loves him. But I mean it's not like Alan Grant and freaking Adley Sattler hot, but whatever. It'll do. Maybe they'll kiss in the last movie. So anyway, so I would say for my last one, yes, it's Joe Young and Greg O'Hara, but definitely leaning more towards Joe Young because, again, she is intelligent, passionate, and just an overall badass in it. Yeah. All right.
A few
honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions that I wanted to talk about but didn't get a chance.
It's not even that we just didn't get a chance. So the ones that I know that we talked about talking. Yeah. We already planned to talk about. These are people that are hot, but it's weird to say hot as far as physical. Yes. So childhood heroes. I'll go over childhood heroes. 1, Steve Irwin. Yeah. 2 and 3, the Kratt brothers.
The Kratt brothers. Absolutely.
So
I just couldn't talk about them in that sense
because they are role models for us so much so growing up that it is weird. But at the same time, they have all the characteristics right. But Steve Irwin was a fantastic dad, super passionate. And knew what he was talking about, and so that is attractive, but calling him a nature hottie feels weird, but and then the Kratt brothers, it's the same thing, same exact thing, just feels weird, but honorable mentions.
Yeah, and then I would just say a few that I thought of, but didn't have time to talk about. George of the Jungle was on my list. But again, another version of Tarzan. But Brendan Fraser, oh my gosh, he's so cute in that movie. So cute and sweet when he dances around that campfire singing and when he's with the horses and the guys are like, what is it with chicks and horses? And it's just George out there looking gorgeous.
Riding horses.
Oh, and then the other one was a real person, Leonardo DiCaprio. He is, in media, so I was counting him, and he's been in other, nature movies like The Revenant, but Leonardo DiCaprio is a real human being, hot, both physically, and he's so active and involved in literally trying to save the planet.
Yeah, he is. He's very vocal.
Cannot help but be all right, yes.
sign
nature
me up
hottie.
for, let's go. Like, what do you need? What do you need? Come on, let's go.
And what's funny is that I was never a Leo fan as a kid when everybody else was. Like, with
Neither was I.
I only
Neither was
became
I.
a Leo fan later.
I
in
cannot
life.
agree with that.
Yeah, no, I get it. I just wasn't into his like he looked very young and gangly when he hit like 30 and Inception
became a man.
The Departed, yeah.
The Departed is his peak era.
Ooh, I don't know.
If I must say.
Even now, like Inception and Shutter Island, I don't know. Yeah,
good.
he filled out. He looks.
But nature-wise, he's a strong advocate for the planet. In real life, he's a very strong advocate for the planet.
Yeah, I've actually never seen I've never seen Revenant, which I need to.
Oh yeah, you should go back and watch it. Alrighty. I think that wraps up everything then. Whew, long episode, guys.
Anybody, Kim? Any honorable mentions, Cyril?
I do not. The only one I have was on your list, Laura. I was so hoping you would talk about David Attenborough's voice.
Oh, yeah.
Which made me laugh.
Yes.
Honorable mention, just his
Attenborough's
voice.
voice. Yeah, because
just
his voice.
I could listen to that man talk all day long about nature. And he is so passionate about it. It's addictive.
He is.
And he has a wonderful accent. Yeah, his voice is just hot.
Yeah.
Just, hey, you should download that game. Remember I talked about that in one of the nature news? Download that dinosaur game. And then you just listen to him talk the whole time.
A real classy gentleman in real life.
Yep. Alrighty, guys. Well, I think that wraps up today's episode. Make sure you follow us on our social media platforms at FTLON. And then make sure you jump over to the Patreon page. We might not talk about nature hotties again, but hopefully some more intellectual leaning conversations. But your support there really helps us to bring on guests in the future and helps us to move this whole program forward and be able to bring you new and better content. So jump over to Patreon and support us there.
Yeah,
Other
if you
than
have
that,
any feedback for us on this episode, do you agree? Do you not agree? Who else should we have mentioned? Let us know.
kind of like, could you write us? Fight us on it.
Yeah,
like if you don't agree, fight us on it.
Or suggest an alternative.
Yes, suggest an alternative. Alrighty, everyone. We will talk to you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.